They need to play some defense. You got to be able to shut people down. Late in the season, that's the thing you can depend on. The stakes are high. There's a lot of pressure. Your shots come and go. As we saw last night with Houston, what did it come down to in the end? You got to be able to stop people. You know that initially that the Celtics are going to come out with a big punch. The Cavs have to try to have some type of advantage in that first quarter. If they're able to negate the energy from the crowd that these younger players play with, I believe that can lead to the Cavs to victory. But it amounts to defense and the type of energy that we saw. I mean, when you have Kyle Korver setting the example for you defensively, him and LeBron James a combined 30 seasons in the NBA, they had the two biggest efforts we saw from an effort standpoint of the Cavaliers came from these two players. So follow their example. And it starts on the defensive end, and you got to get it started early there in Boston because the crowd will be amazing tonight.
Sure. I'm smiling because I hadn't thought about it that way. Korver and LeBron combined 70 years on Earth.
Yeah.
30 years
You've had
in
a
the
tremendous
NBA.
influence on me being the smartest guy on TV and make me think outside of what I would normally think about.
I appreciate that, CC.
Yeah, I was joking.
Okay, so listen, I think the first quarter is critical to Boston because I think the Cavs, I don't think Boston can win this series if they lose this game. I think the Cavs can. I also don't think Boston is equipped to do in Game 5 what they did in Game 2, which is be dominated in the first half and then flip the script entirely in the second half. You don't think
for those role players coming out and seeing Jaylen Brown, seeing Tatum get off the fast starts that they weren't able to do, they know the road record. Like seeing those young players, if Al Horford starts really fast, you don't think that affect the psyche of Cleveland?
No. That's what I'm saying is that's why I'm saying I think the first quarter is critical for Boston. I think Boston has to get out to a fast start.
Right. I think it's critical for Cleveland also. That's what I was trying to counter.
Here's the thing. We have seen Cleveland, whether it was Game 1 against Toronto, whether it was I forget which Pacers game, I think it was Game 5 against Indiana, where they don't start off well, and then once the second unit comes in for the other team and LeBron stays in extended minutes, they can get back within reaching distance, start to figure it out. I think Cleveland, I think there are multiple paths to victory for the Cavs at this point. I think the Cavs right now are feeling better about how they're playing, and they obviously have the best player in the series. I think the Celtics' path to victory is slimmer but much more clear. They have to be extraordinary defensively, and they need to get Al Horford off. Like, period, point blank. They can't have Al Horford be a secondary or tertiary player in this game. He's got to be their best guy. It's got to be Horford, Tatum, Brown, with whatever you get from Rozier being a bonus. That's what the Celtics have to do to win what I feel is the second must-win game they've played in these playoffs, second only, of course, to the Game 7 against Milwaukee.
Can Brad Stevens just go back to Game 1, maybe more so Game 1 than Game 2, and said, just do what we did here. When the pressure wasn't on, when you didn't let LeBron get in your head, when this was just you're going out and playing basketball, coming off the series that you just won, when we hadn't gone to Cleveland and lost 2 games, when Al Horford came out and absolutely dominated. I mean, how hard is it for them to do that?
That was the worst playoff game LeBron's played in over a year.
Yeah, and the problem with game number 1 also is you've played 3 other games. You got 3 other games of intel. So there's only so much you can adjust to and change. Look, in game number 1, the Cavs only scored 83 points. Can they do that again? No, they can't do it again. They're an outstanding defensive team. And the reason why they were so hard to defend for the Cavs was they did a lot of passing, motion, picking until they got the matchup that they wanted. Since then, the Cavs have made adjustments to that. We haven't seen Brad make any counter punch. So the point that Nick and I are trying to make is there's too much information that's been exposed. We've seen the Cavs adjust. That's not a move that they can go back to.
Sure.
I'm also curious if Aaron Baines is going to start. That was an adjustment I thought Brad Stevens might make in Game 4. He didn't. I think he paid for it. Is Aaron Baines going to start? That then forces most likely Tristan Thompson to be guarding Aaron Baines, which gets Kevin Love on Al Horford. Now, you're going to pay the penalty for that on the other end of the court, but it could help get Al Horford off offensively. That's an adjustment I think that is waiting for Brad Stevens. That's the only starting lineup adjustment that I think is out there for him because Rozier's your only healthy point guard, so unless you're going to start Marcus Smart at point guard, which you're not. Like, you don't have a lot of other potential lineup adjustments.
Yeah, from a defensive standpoint, I would like to see Brad Stevens go back to Marcus Morris being on LeBron early in the game. Get Jaylen Brown, get him off of LeBron so he avoids foul trouble. LeBron is too physical and too smart for those younger players. Later in the game, later in the quarter, you can rotate those guys on LeBron, but that would be one adjustment, Jenna, I would like to see the Celtics make that they did do in game number 1 and were successful the way you mentioned.
And I'm going to add one other thing that I don't know if you'll be into at all, but you've talked a lot about how LeBron, it's all about championships. Your evaluation of him is going to be championships. His evaluation of himself is going to be championships. LeBron, while he's not on social media, he saw the game last night. And I believe, and I think LeBron believes, and I know the people around LeBron believe, if they face the Warriors in the NBA Finals, they're drawing nearly dead. I think they believe they have a path to victory, even if it's a slim one, over Houston. And if Golden State were up 3-1 and about to go make the NBA Finals...
Wow, so you're saying, okay, LeBron is 0 dark 30, but the guy that we consider, and people have told us, he's a basketball savant, he's a fan of the game, he sees the overall picture.
He knows, hold on, we might not be playing. If we make the NBA Finals, it might not be the Warriors. And so LeBron's going to be trying hard no matter what. But it's a different level to me of motivation. If you think I am working my tail off.
I could buy into that.
To just go get my head handed to me by Golden State. As opposed to what, I tell you what LeBron doesn't want to have happen, is get knocked out by Boston and then see Houston in the NBA Finals and be thinking, did I leave a championship on the board? Is the year that I didn't make the NBA Finals a year we could have beaten the team in the NBA Finals? Now, I'm not saying I picked the Cavs over the Rockets, but I know the folks in Cleveland and the folks around LeBron have more faith in their ability to beat Houston, which they think they got a shot at.
They match up better with.
As opposed to Golden State. So I think last night's game actually helped the Cavs tonight.
All right, Game 5 tonight, back in Boston. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.